Oh, 1 second, guys. Hold on, my phone's ringing. Who is this?
Who is
It's
it?
the Land of Dawn. The draft is starting. Oh, why aren't we there yet? Let's get there.
Yeah, we're just
Beautiful
gonna
toss. Beautiful toss from Zeke. Beautiful toss from Zeke. I like it. We are finally jumping into the draft of Series 1, Game 1, Day 2, and I'm ready, UA.
Yeah, and we're just gonna jump straight into the Brats, and Novaria does get taken out by the side of DA, and also Fiends coming through with the Matilda, Kaja, and Vexana. I do think the Kaja is well warranted here, right? Fiends want to play a lot of the assassins, and they also have very, very strong Joy players. Uneven and both Pro Destroyer can be proficient with that hero, but Kush is gonna be able to deny that pick in that first phase.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the Joy was let through, it's not something we've gotten to see a whole lot lately. And we were just talking about how Kush, I mean, they're going quick right now. We were just talking about how Kush, he likes to be on those fast pace. He likes to be on something quick. If you let him get the Nolan, if you let him get something that is still viable in today's meta, that is similar to an assassin, he is going to knock that in quickly, and he gets the Joy, so I'm excited for that. On the side of Fiends, the Angela, though, the support, something to maybe help out deal with some of the crazy damage that DA is trying to bring.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit worried here, right? Arlot in Roam is typically a very hard situation for most roamers. We don't really have the ability to practice that hero quite a lot, but T coming from the XP, it literally is perfect. Right, T has been a player that has dominated in the XP matchup 1 versus 1 with heroes like Kaja, Lapu Lapu, and the Arlot. But this time around, he gets to take that fighter into the roam position, paired up with Toru, which had a great performance on carry, also has done extremely well with the Claude. So I do think the side of DA have a lot to prepare. Fiends now picking up the CC tracks.
Yeah, I mean, the CC's just been a monster. Even if it takes some deaths early on, it can still scale very, very well. The only thing is where it really shines is against some of those bulkier utility junglers, kind of shredding them down a bit. Is it going to be able to keep up with the Joy, right? Is it going to be able to keep up with the Joy kind of moving around? And now, picking up the CC, you do give up. You give up some CC, right? You give up some crowd control. You no longer have an EXP laner that can do something like the Arlot can do, or can do something like a Lapu can do, or can do something like a Ruby can do. So I do feel like Fiends needs to make up for that, especially if the fact that they also have the Angela, if that Angela's in roam position, they're going for a bit more of like a dive, full offensive, not as much CC.
And talk about the CC, right? I thought the Fredgen would have been a perfect opportunity for Pro Destroy to pick it up, which he did, in fact, perform quite well yesterday with it. This time around, DA does decide to ban it out. I like that respect. The Fanny is still available for the side of Fiends if they do choose to pick it, right? We have Kush on the Joy, and traditionally, the Joy works quite well in the jungle. But the Joy not being stunned here, there's no Franco, there's no Kaja, there's nothing to suppress the ability that Joy can just immune around. I'm a little bit worried for the side of Fiends. Do they actually have what it takes in their comp so far with just a CC and Angela to stop the mobility and the dive coming out from heroes like the Arlot and also the Joy?
Yeah, I mean, Arlot's just been a monster, and the reality is it could still be flexed, right? T could pick it up if they want to put it into the XP lane. It is there. Fiend's going to lock in the Basha here. I mean, on the side of DA, we still need a possible EXP laner. We still need a mid lane mage, right? So Vex is not open, Nana's not open, no Fermis, no Novaria, definitely losing a lot of options. The Lilia's still there. We know Yate's got a nice Lilia, definitely a possibility for them if they want that. X-Borg into the XP lane, I like it.
Export going up against the CC. It's like the no CC versus no CC matchup. Both are just kind of shredding each other. It depends if CC is able to get that early advantage, break the Araga armor, maybe even get a cut here and there. But you're going up against Mikasa, which has performed so extremely well. Now, the side of Fiends, oh wait, no, the side of DA is still looking for their last member. They're missing a mage, just like you're saying. The Lilia is a very good option. We did see, you know, some Xaviers coming out to play, but no, the Lilia does come out to play. But the response coming through with the Valentina, it can take the X-Borg ultimate, the last Insanity, which does quite well, but
Final
I'm
Slash.
not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if the Valentina provides that CC that Fiends may be missing, because the Joy right now is just going to be completely free to do whatever he wants.
Joy definitely free. I think they get something like, I think the Valentina's kind of just because they were lacking so much. So I think Churobani, a major thing is maybe pick up the final slash here. There is some other utility with the black shoes, with the like you said, with the last insanity. It's a little tough though, right? And on the side of DA, they kind of went a bit divey as well. They decided not to pick up anything too crazy CC. You know, you set out the CC list with the X-Borg. So all they really have is a final slash. Both compositions just going kind of full hammer home. One of the things with the X-Borg though, right? The X-Borg does great against things like the Barats, things like the Fredrin, because they have a little trouble closing the distance, and he can kite. Now, the difference between the Basha here, though, is he can close that distance very quickly. He can kind of get in there very, very fast, but it does look like we're going to be jumping into game number 1. This is Devious Activities going up against the Fiends. I'm hyped for it, UA.
Oh, yeah, and this is going to be a royal battle between the contending pretty much the contending team Devious that everyone has kind of hyped up. They have a lot of strong players. They're definitely going to be challenging up to that first place. But Fiends, that new kids on the block, looking to, you know, show up in this series, potentially even overthrowing these big experienced players coming out from Devious.
I think there's a lot of things we definitely have to look at, right? A lot of possibilities. If we look at early game, mid game, late game, I do kind of like... I like DA here a little bit in the early with T, with Yato on this mid. It seems very aggressive. It seems very pressuring. And when you look at something like the Angela and the Valentina, I think it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of time to really hit that spike.
Well, personally, I think Angela does quite well early on. And I do know that you could already see in terms of the mid matchup, the Lilia is going to be able to have the freedom to roam around way much more faster. The Lilia clear is just so much more significant compared to the Valentina. So you're going to see Churobani kind of lack in terms of the rotation and majority of kind of the walking around, especially in the lane clear. But a good strategy coming through. They're both putting their roams on the mid to try to get to that level 4 as soon as possible. On the bot side, they both got this, you know, 2-man unit coming through, but the turtle getting started from the side of DA.
Yeah, first turtle going to be in. Does look like Kush is going to get the electrifying beats on a Churro there, but Pro Destroy coming to help out. Both teams taking their time, but it is going to be a 4v4 for this turtle.
Yeah, and Pro Destroy is there for the objective, but T already coming through with a little bit of damage.
He doesn't have level 4 yet, though. He's going to have to dash back with the Vengeance. He's getting brought low, and this might give Fiends a little bit of an advantage. Kush able to take the turtle with ease, backing off. Fiends, though, no one takes a loss, no members down.
Yeah, I think this is actually good news for the side of Fiends, although I believe that Devious actually has the advantage in terms of the late game when you especially compare it where they have the carry, they have the export. Both are extremely solid with a lot of items, but Fiends, on the other hand, played that turtle quite well. They did not get the retribution, but the most important thing is they did not lose any members. The gold difference between both teams is only 400 so far. Fiends is still right on the tails of Devious Activities.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow pace. It's all mostly a slow-paced game right now. Nobody getting too crazy. I think both teams need a little bit of time. The question is when we get, if they push this to mid to late, which team do you think is really scaling out better? I feel like the Claude and the Carry both have kind of a very high cap there, but what about the rest of the team?
When you kind of talk about like that mid to the late game, I kind of want to be more objective focus here, right? A lot of these top teams, they're not really out there looking for kills. So it's honestly just based off of if they're able to grab up the objectives. And I have to give it to Fiends, right? They have the utility jungle Boxia in place. They did not get the first objective, but they should be able to have the opportunity to 50-50 majority of these objectives. On the other hand, though, Devious, they don't have... top side.
Blazing Duet locks on to Toru here. Toru taking a lot of damage. Kohar able to back off, able to put them both away. T now with the Vengeance trying to dash away. We're already seeing the value coming from that Heart Guard. T might be in a little bit of trouble, able to back off, but Kohari dominating the gold lane right now.
Yeah, it's a strong performance coming out from Fiends, going a little bit aggressive on the top side, but they do not have the Heart Guard available for this objective. And without the Heart Guard, it's going to be one utility down, but it doesn't seem like DA, they're looking for that.
Nice final slash does land on a Magic there. Toru with 1v1 up against Gohari. Can he do it though? Toru forced to back off, needs to be careful, but here comes Churro with the last Insanity, locked on a T in the flicker, looks for the double. Can he secure it? T able to just survive, but they do find first blood on to Toru. It's going to be huge. They're still going to keep on the aggressive. Fiends with a blazing duet. Secures the double kill for Churro. Yato now trying to come in and help out, but still Fiends taking off right now. That's going to be 2-0 right there.
2-0 right there. You can see the gold lead. It's actually quite even across the board. Fiends are just, you know, right behind DA, and it kind of shows that, hey, we really cannot gauge this new team coming through. They have been head-to-head, got the upset yesterday, looking for another opportunity so far, and they're up in kills now. Although they are down in terms of the overall gold, it's still anyone's game.
We just talk about these player cams real quick. I'm vibing with it. It's definitely not Yato down there, but I'm vibing with it. It's a vibe. I like it. We got Fiends, we got DA on cam, but DA right now, they're down. I mean, wait, DA actually holding the gold lead right now, which is actually, it just kind of speaks volumes on their rotations, on the way they move around the map. Able to hold 1,000 gold lead even after taking the 2 kills.
Yeah, the 2 kills on the side of Fiends, but the 2 objective has been towards the side of Devious. And, you know, quite honestly, when I see the Boxia, he should be able to have a little bit more of the 50-50, but it seems like Devious, they're much more focused on getting Gohari a good lane on the top side. You can see they're even putting a lot of pressure, even T here.
Ooh, Gohari this time, though, does get the Heart Guard, taking a lot of damage, but it's 3 members up against Gohari. Yato tries to get the finish, but has the Black Shoes back, and Pro Destroy is there to destroy. T goes down, and now Fiends with the counter-strike, with the bite back here. DA once again pushed back into their tower.
Yeah, and it seems like Fiends has the ability to win a lot of these small skirmishes early on. It's not a 5 versus 5 yet. But in terms of the pick onto the gold lane, we're talking about like the 3 versus 3. When you got the mage and the roam on the top side, it definitely feels like the side of Fiends have a little bit more advantage. But this 3rd turtle coming up, I do think this is the time where Fiends need to capitalize, especially using such a utility-focused jungler.
Yeah, I'm wondering also, when does Kush hit his spike, right? When does he start getting to the back line and actually causing mayhem? Turtle is brought low, uneven, getting pushed back, and Pro Destroy has a nice angle. In comes the double last insanity, but Kush still able to do it under the pressure, but now he's pressured down and taken out uneven, picking up the kill. Fiends winning out 4-0, but still losing those objectives, and that's what's keeping DA with the gold lead right now. Yato in a lot of trouble here, uneven under the tower. Magic picking up the kill. It's 5-0. in under 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, but I do have to give a lot of respect to Kush right now, but bot side Mikasa getting taken out. Like, the side of Devious, they're great at the retribution. They're able to get grouping up into kind of like a good position and go into the team fights. But the side of Fiends, it's just a little bit unfortunate on their side. They're not getting these objectives, and they're not getting a clear gold lead. But at least in terms of the skirmishes, they're doing quite well, even ganking on to each of their lanes. They got the top side tower, but ooh, Gohari
are in a little bit of trouble. Electrifying beats. Wait a second, is he gonna get the outplay? Kush goes down. Gohari, this man, who is he? Where is he from? Fiends right now, defying the odds.
Yeah, and they're taking the contenders up for a ride here. They're finally getting their first gold lead in the game, especially against a team with this caliber. They have 2 towers, both from the side. They're looking to push onto the 3rd right now. The siege is setting up for the side of Fiends.
And it's a new year here for NACT, and Fiends are showing that there's some new blood on the block. They're coming in strong. Day 1, taking out BloodHounds. Let's move up the ladder a little bit. Let's find DA. The game's not over yet, but right now Fiends are looking good. A nice final slash does come in from T there, though. Not enough damage on a Pro Destroy. Devious activity still needing to scale up.
Yeah, and Devious, they're doing a great job clearing the mid, helping each other out. They did lose a few towers here and there, but they still are holding on to the mid. Gohari dashing forward might be a mistake.
But the Heart Guard's ready at all times. Magic, ready to lock and load any second and be there for his team.
Yeah, and I would say picking up the Angela, especially in the first phase, so extremely early, especially going up against a Joy, it's a little bit of a cheese move here. The Lord is up, and it seems like Fiends, they do want to battle it out here.
Yeah, Fiends are going all in. They take their time, though. Their patience with it. They know they don't have a huge amount of CC. Here comes the Hard Guard onto Kohari. The final slash lands, but he's in a little bit of trouble along with Mikasa. Blazing Duet to the backside. Toru up against Kohar, and Kohar finally goes down. It's a 1-for-1 right now, but Fiend's still pressing the advantage. Mikasa takes down the Immortality. Has to go back to base here, but Fiend still controlling, and Churro finds the kill on a Mikasa there. Uneven, looking for Kush next. Kush trying to dash away, but Fiend say, no, we don't care about the Lord. We're coming for you. We're coming for blood. Now the rest of the team moves back to the pit as Devious activity is locked out.
Yeah, and we were kind of talking about how Devious activities, one of their greatest strength is having that dual combination at mid side, right? The T and the Yato combination. But this time around, their overall KD is a 0, 4, and 1. Just 1 assist available for both of those players with 4 deaths. Compared to the side of Fiends, you have Churro, 3, 0, and 2, and also Magic, 2, 0, and 5. This 2 combinations coming through, especially when you talk about how the Valentinos picked so late in the draft, is working out so well for them.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, DA just needs, I mean, they need time. They need a lot right now because Fiends is slowly taking off with the gold lead. We're getting to about 3K. And with a composition like this, when you have something like the Angela, who also is sitting at 2, 0, and 5 right now, is not only scaling with protection for the team, but the damage is also starting to stack up a bit.
Yeah, the side of Fiends right now, they kind of just want to go around pushing towers. I think they're playing quite disciplined here. The Lord is marching down on the top side, but I don't think the side of Fiends is going to be able to siege out on anything. If they choose to group up at mid, though, they might be able to have a chance here to grab up the towers.
Yeah, they're not being too crazy, not pushing in all lanes at the same time. They want to try to clear this, but look at Kohari into the back line with the Blazing Duet, locking on to Toru. Heart Guard to make sure he survives. A lot of damage onto several members. T backing off. Fiends controlling these fights, and Kush in a bad position here. Gonna try to take him on a little bit of a chase. Churro looking for an angle. Nowhere for Kush to go this time, though. He's dashing under the tower, able to just get away. Take him on a wild goose hunt here through their own jungle.
Yeah, and Kush is just kind of wasting their time. I'm not sure if Fiends is gonna be able to catch him here. Pro!
He's
the
a
rat
slippery
chase
guy.
continues.
Oh, can he get away from this one? No, Churro finally finds it.
Yeah, and it's going to be 10-1 on the scoreboard. 12 minutes in, 3K goal lead for the side of Fiends. A quite unexpected opening coming out for this very game 1 of the day 2s. Fiends is already taking the lead, and it's kind of the same momentum that we had yesterday. Kohari here.
Oh, Kohari is going to get final slash under the tower, but still, he's able to survive with the Heart Guard. Able to put a lot of damage on T. Toru still survives. T able to get away with just a sliver, but Mikasa maybe the next. Takes one last shot, but finds survivability at 10%. Kush goes down, or still down, coming up in just a few seconds, but Fiend's still dominating in the Land of Dawn.
Yeah, and one of the most beautiful things is that Fiends is actually, you know, a team that we haven't seen before. Versus the side of Devious, we've seen them perform, we've seen them dominate, and this time around they are on the back end of this match. Fiends is going to be the one that's dictating the performance, but uneven here.
All right, so DA, what can they even do here? I feel like Fiends have control, and with the CC, yes, it doesn't apply crowd control, but CC is still such a great zoner, able to just shred anyone down with the movement, able to kind of bounce around, and when it comes down to these Lord pits, they have that, and you mentioned it earlier, since they have the utility jungler, Pro Destroy can just chill, man. He can just vibe in the middle of the pit, and Devious activity have no damage to get to him. Toru, luckily, has only taken 1 death, so maybe that's an answer, but a Blazing Duet does lock onto T there, zoning all of DA away. Mikasa going to get bursted down in a matter of seconds. Still has the immortality, though. Frag armor is gone. Here comes a conceal play. They're going to try to look for an angle. Toru not able to catch the speed up. Final slash lands on to nobody. T with the whip. Kohari taking a lot of damage. Kush into the backside with the electrifying beats. Pro Destroy still finds the Lord, though. Magic able to take out Kush. Fiends, all they got to do is back off of Kohari, who doesn't want to do it. Mikasa with the last Insanity, looking for a kill here, unable to lock on anyone. Kohari dashes in and is deleted, but finds Mikasa with it. Yato able to pick up 2. It's a 2-for-3 trade. Devious Activity definitely losing out in this, and now Yato in trouble. Protostor goes down to Toru in the mid side, though, and Yato is found. It is a bloodbath, but in the end, Fiends come out on top.
Yeah, and it's a 4-for-3. Fiends are coming out on top, battling it out. And this is the first time that Fiends actually was able to win the 50-50 retry on the objective. It's quite a nice objective compared to the first 2 early turtles, and now you can see Fiends trying to siege the tower. Toru is there to defend, but the top side is definitely going to be destroyed here. DA already losing their first inner towers here. 14 minutes in. It smells kind of like a bad spell, a bad dream for the champion contenders.
I mean, and Fiends still have space to lose a Lord if they want to, right? They still have space with all the towers they have. They could have, you know, one bad fight and be okay. They have a huge lead. The gold lead isn't too far ahead of DA, but when we look at objectives on the map, Fiends is definitely up right now. Uneven gonna dash in, looking for Kush there. Mikasa with the last Insanity, still not enough damage. Final Slash able to lock on, but Churobani and Protostor here to help out. Yato on the run, gonna get stunned up, but Protostor taking a whole lot of damage. Koharu once again with the Blazing Duet, able to shred down several members, and down goes T. Toru, Yato, Uneven, making the scale uneven, putting down the pressure. Mikasa trying to come in. Uneven gonna get the heart guard and just get away. The pressure stays though as Fiends progress.
Yeah, and these guys are taking DA on a joyride here, winning almost every single team fight. You could say it's a comp difference, but it definitely feels like the damage coming out from Fiends is too good.
Terrify, looking for one more hit. Kush able to get under the healing fountain, but the base will fall, and Fiends take game number 1.
I'm shocked, Trex. I know I voted for Fiends here, but the dominating performance coming out from these Undertakers is unbelievable. 17, 4, and 35 is the overall KDA of the Fiends, able to take the victory in the game 1 between DA and them. The damage is actually quite good, and the GPMs is quite high. This is a team that is, you know, catching the whole entire North American off guard with the performance, and taking game 1 here is so huge.
I love it. I like it. That is a vibe. Fiends coming in out of nowhere. I mean, yes, we know some of these players, but still, it is huge for them to just come in swinging in week. Not only just come in swinging, not only like having some big upsets, but coming in week number 1. Winning their first series against BloodHounds 2-0 and now taking game number 1 against DA. If they sweep this, they're a team for all of us to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think the whole entire North America was ready for Fiends to have such a strong performance coming through. We saw yesterday they were able to get the upset, and I've been, you know, a fan of rooting for these underdogs team. And this time around, it seems like DA is stamping it. They're making sure that they're causing the impact and they're ready to compete. This is only day 2, Trex, and we still have a very long season. But Fiends, man, these guys are crazy.
And I think at this point, what's really important for the side of Devious Activities is they can't let this be a sweep, right? We were talking about the point system earlier. We were talking about this, that either way, Fiends is now, they're feeling good, because even if they lose here, let's say somehow DA gets the reverse sweep, they got some points on the board. Now it's pressure on a Devious Activity, and this is the day where we're going to start to see maybe some possible, we're going to start to really see how the bracket is standing, like how the team standings are standing, because depending on who gets that 1 point in here and there, that's where we're going to start to see place 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and it's a really, really good start coming out from Fiends to be able to dominate and perform at a high level, pretty much where everyone is watching. A lot of the teams, they could do really, really well in tournaments, especially in the lower tier ones. But this time around, we're talking about NACT. We're talking about the qualifiers for every world event here, and they're pushing at such a strong performance here. This time around, they're taking out pretty much the XBTK members, this Devious Activities that everyone has been hyping around. This is a team that has done quite a bit in the North American scene. We've seen, you know, Yato and also T on teams like A77, we've seen them pretty much dominating in all the different areas, but Fiends, we have not seen them perform and actually become a contender. And maybe from this win here, the whole entire North America has to change perspectives. They have to give the credit that these young players deserve. And, you know, now this time around, the voting has come up and I'm the only ones on Fiends here. Might get a 5-0 on the clock.
Hey man, UA went from worst predictor last season to coming in this season with the lead. Big props, man. I mean, Fiends for sure, though. It's like all eyes on them right now. If they take this win, I mean, that's what people love to see, right? That's what I think casters, fans, viewers, they love to see the upset. They love to see the underdog. And Fiends came in from qualifiers, placing 7th, right? LEGACi was 8th. DA was what, 3rd, maybe 2nd, tied with BTK. And right now the tables are being flipped. The turntables are happening. That's something like to say, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely intense. It's definitely what I like to see, and I'm excited for Fiends right now. I almost want them to just come in again swinging like they did last game.
And when we talk about the draft, I'm not sure if the Game 2 draft is coming up, but the quickness of Fiends to have the confidence to pick those heroes to go up against the Arlott Joy first round, that's dominating, right? Like, the Angela gets picked up. I actually don't 100% agree with the Angela pick, especially going up against the Joy, but they played it so extremely well. Kohari also, right, picked up the Claude in the first phase. It's prone to specific matchups like the Brody, or early game damage like the Clint, or even the Natan that has been used quite well in the MPL scene. But the carry just unable to get a few of those wins. I know Toru was able to get a kill or there in the game, but overall it seems like Kohari just has that difference in the marksman position, is able to create the impact and even go onto the backside. The Blazing Duet was perfect in most of those scenarios. You have Pro Destroyer coming in, tanking and disengaging all the ultimates. You also got the Last Insanity paired with the Valentina IMU that had the impact on the top side early on. And then Kohari comes in with the sweep. Sometimes it's in the early phase where he just shreds the HP, but most of the time in the late game, he's hitting onto so many units, breaking out DA's kind of tactic and formation, and just completely dominating all the fights.
I mean, and that's where, though they lacked CC, they made it up in extreme sustainability, using the Angela correctly, able to get to a point, and they were able to use Kohari as almost an EXP laner, right? As a zoner. Like, he was able to just jump into the back line, use the Blazing Duet, and even if he didn't get a kill, he created space for his team to get that Lord, to get the first, the second Lord, and things of that nature. And anyone that didn't have CC, they were still able to use magic and use that Angela to their advantage. Now, jumping in to draft number 2, DA is going to be on the red side, 2nd pick. What do they change up here?
Yeah, well, we did see the opening of Fiends going for the Angela and the Claude, and quite honestly, the Angela was performing beyond expectation. 2, 0, and 5, dominating pretty much that whole entire mid game, leading onto the late game and the impact. So the Angela is definitely still inside of Fiends' pocket. I do like the Claude. The mobility that Kohari had was so great. He was able to just go in and go out in plenty of different situations. I do think the side of DA is going to prioritize that pick, but giving the carry to Kohari is also a problem. Kohari is known to be an extremely strong carry player. So this is actually a very bad situation for DA. They have to kind of flip their game book and try to figure out how they can deal with the aggressiveness, the new progressive way of drafting and playing this series. They have to figure out something, and maybe going back into some of their old comps where they can win, right? The Kaja is taken off the board, but I do know T has a lot of heroes like the Franco or even the Chow, playing something that is more fighter centric, playing something that maybe doesn't go 0-3 early on and has the ability to dash in and out, and making sure he has the impact to win the early game against this aggressive team.
I mean, or just, I mean, Kush could definitely just like keep it simple if he wanted to. I think overall, one thing I do want to point out though, this Angela ban coming from the side of DA, already showing respect. And what does that do? It opens up the playing field with Novaria Vex. Vex is open right now. I think Fiends definitely pick up the Vex up front here. Fiends, what do they get to trade for that?
This is
the CC.
It's a very interesting strategy here because this time around they do decide to ban out the Angela, leaving the Vex open, just like what you're saying. And you know, it might be a bait pick, but the Vexana is quite good, but I don't think she has the mobility to be able to deal with a lot of the high engage, high dive heroes that Devious might be able to choose. This time around, the Bratz gets picked up, which was banned out on the first fade along with the Valentina. So a complete different game strategy this time around for both teams, prioritizing a lot of different heroes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Even though Vexana does kind of lack the mobility, she's I don't know, man. It doesn't even make sense sometimes, but she's just such a monster. She's probably one of the most like sought after mages across the world right now, at least prioed and all. But Yato does go for the Nana, something that I thought we were going to see a lot more of overseas and just in general, but has kind of like, we're still picking a lot, but we haven't been seeing it as prioed as much in other places. The Bratz is very clean, but now the CC still open for the side of Fiends, so I think it's a great pickup for them if they want it.
Yeah, the CC is available, the Xborg, and also the Yuzong, but no, the side of Fiends opting to go for the Claude, which has paid dividends in the last series. And also the Minotaur that has been taken away off the board. This time around, they're able to pick up their duo mid early on for the side of Fiends. Now, Devious, their response, are they going to look for a counterplay onto the gold lane? Maybe pick up something that's early and aggressive, something that can bully the Claude in lane, like the Brody, or they could opt to go for a utility counter against the Minotaur, for example, the Diggy, which I do know the season, I think season 32 new skin. Ooh, that new Diggy skin is quite adorable.
Diggy could definitely be a possibility, and it feels like Diggy could be a possibility a lot of time, but it feels like a lot of NA teams sometimes kind of, they just, I don't know, it's like if it's a lack of comfortability on it, if it's a lack of what, but they decide, maybe we'll not go for it. It's kind of a risk. It's a high risk, high reward hero, right? And your team has to be comfortable with it. They decide to go for the Ruby instead, which also very solid, very flexible. It can be in the XP lane, it can be in the roam position. Now with bans coming in, DA going to take out the CC. On the side of Fiends, hammer into the gold lane here, right?
I do want to see if DA is willing to go for a more utility style fight here, right? Grabbing the Barats, pairing up with the Ruby onto the front line, and maybe even sliding in a healer like the Estes or the Florin to pair up with the utility and front line of Kush to completely change up the plan and, you know, Ube strategy into the Fiends' aggressiveness, right? Fiends have been so well in a lot of the small skirmishes. We saw early on, they grab the kills early. It's not about the objective. It's about getting the 1-2 advantages when it's the 2v2 opportunities, or it's just a gank onto the XP. Fiends has been winning pretty much top to bottom throughout all of the matchups. But DA, if they choose to group up and have a different strategy this time around, maybe it's going to cause Fiends to sweat a little bit more, unsure if they're able to win these fights, because quite honestly, Fiends so far, it's definitely a very pick-centric early game, kill heavy, focusing on just a few units and making sure that they can go into that late game and scale well.
I like it. So down with the bans coming down. The Brody Bruno ban coming from Fiends, CC and Xborg from the side of DA. It makes me feel like DA may definitely be slotting that Ruby into the EXP lane possibly, and maybe looking for something else in the roam position. They got to have something to answer that Claude. They go for the Aerithal. Now, we haven't seen Aerithal since like the 1-1 Aerithal counter 1-1 days. She lasted for a little bit after that, but overall, we haven't really been seeing her be that prioed in the gold lane.
It just might be a good mobility counter to the Claude. I'm not sure if the Aerithal actually wins out in that matchup. I do know in terms of trading, Arithal's going to have a bit of advantage, especially with the first skill. He's able to knock down a few of the armor of the Claude and get that shred early on without building something like a Malefic. So I do think the Arithal has a slight advantage early on, but Blazing Duet paired up with the second skill of Claude, he's just dashing in and out. That mobility is extremely hard to deal with. Now, the insurance that DA has, though, in this draft is the Nano. And no, it doesn't seem like Fiends care. The Fanny comes out to play along with the Glue. This is a combination we saw yesterday where Fiends were able to take the upset, but this time around, it's going to be going up against the Hilda. Which is also a big wild card.
With the fancy skin. I like the art right now chosen for Hilda. For a second I thought it was I had a mind blank. Either way, I like it. I think so. They picked the Fanny first. They pick up the Hilda as the response to it. T, we're definitely no. All right, I'm going to be in your face at all times. Even if I die a bunch of times, I need to slow down Pro Destroy as much as possible. But you said it before these games started. This is something that we could see. The Fanny was viable for both teams, and Fiends are going to be picking it up.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about this Hilda is he's going to be extremely aggressive early on. And when you take a look at the Fiends mid lane matchup, it's not going to be extremely strong to defend against the Hilda. The Minotaur is not going to be able to kind of go around, and also the Vexana at level 2 is not going to cause that much damage to T. So, but actually a little bit chunked out by T here. Pro Destroyer able to grab up that buff with no problem. Let's see if the opening of Fiends this time around is going to grab them a few more kills early on.
Definitely a possibility on the side of DA. Rotations seem okay, right? You have T. The only thing is if T is going to be super... Ooh, T taking a lot of damage. Speaking of him, everyone grouping on T, going to be in trouble here and goes down. Now, Fiends grouped up. I feel like Kush, if T's going to constantly be taking deaths like that... Wait a second, back in the mid. A little bit of damage on Churro. We'll be able to get away, but Kush needs to take advantage of any delay that T is causing and try to get the farm advantage over Pro Destroy here.
Yeah, but this scenario that is being played out is very similar to game 1, right? DA having the lead, even being down kills. Their rotations are quite good. The mid is also rotating faster. Yato is getting the step ahead of Churro in majority of these rotations. So it seems like the side of Devious, their early game is being played out quite well, but now the objective is going to be coming up. I do think the advantage of Devious having a utility-focused jungler is going to change some of the 50-50 retries later on. But Fiends, on the other hand, they have done so dominant in picking off the heroes of Devious. I feel like they might even sacrifice it and just go for pickoffs, maybe onto the gold lane, giving Kohari a small advantage.
Most definitely Kush is going to be able to take the turtle. Pro Destroy has to go for the purple buff. And this is kind of a similar story to what we saw last time. DA really heavily focuses on the turtle. They have been able to secure it repetitively. And it's something that kind of keeps them ahead in gold, at least in the laning phase.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of tough to watch Fiends unable to kind of get any bit of headroom onto the objective and the burst.
That is huge. A big pick on a Pro Destroy. We're starting to see how the Ruby and the rest of the team can come in clutch here. They do have some nice CC answers for the Fanny.
Yeah, the gold lead is going to be a 1k difference already. It seems like Devious has the ability to win some of these small skirmishes, but a small engagement.
Ooh, the chomp chomp, the nom nom, push him against the wall, but down comes the Eternal Guardian, able to get the knock up onto several members, but Kush still there. He wants to go for this orange buff, but he's taking a whole lot of damage. T, able to attack on a Pro Destroy, and down he goes again. 1 and 2 right now, a bad start for Fanny, but Kush in a little bit of trouble. Uneven, maybe able to get the kill here. Yes, he does. He finds it. Down comes some No One's Fury. Now T in a bad spot as well, but Mikasa here to help out. Uneven, gonna get the slam, the stun onto several members, but Mikasa with the arm offended finds magic. It's a bloodbath at only 3 minutes in. It is a brawl, and Pro Destroy back in the midst of it.
Yeah, but the side of Fiends right now, they're kind of unable to win a lot of the small skirmishes that they were able to on the last series here. The scoreboard is 3-2 advantage for Devious along with a small lead. It does seem like Devious has ramped it up, and this Hilda pick is working quite well. He did die early on, but Fiends is struggling to get a lot of these buffs.
I mean, that's your job as a Hilda, though, right? Like, you're just the human body bag. You just run in. You're the punching bag. It's okay if you die on a Hilda when you're playing. Like, this is your goal, right? It's delay over death, right? As long as you can delay and slow down Pro Destroy and be that fly in his face, you're doing your job very well.
And they're definitely doing so. The turtle is going to be coming down. It doesn't seem like Fiends are going to be quite in a good position to get this. Same story, repetitive. Devious able to take care of the objectives once again, putting them in almost a 2k gold lead. But topside, a small 4-man unit from Fiends.
Yeah, the Nose Fairy does come down. The knock up. Locked up with a lot of damage on Mikasa. Mikasa still able to stand tall, though, under the tower. Can he get the outplay here? He needs to get some lifesteal, but no, Churobani finds the kill.
And a interesting switch coming out from the side of Devious, opting to put the XP laner into the gold lane, giving Rithel just a little bit more room to farm. And I do like this, right? Changing up the strategy, making sure that Toru is safe in majority of these fights. And even with the Nana here, it's really, really hard to go. But topside.
Tower for tower, both teams trading up right now. Pro Destroy on this Fanny, though, definitely having a tough time. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I think as we get into the mid game, Pro Destroy may not be able to take the aggressive route in team fights, but have to kind of go to more of the split pushing route. Pro Destroy backed off of his own purple buff. Once again, Mikasa involved, able to get the lock up onto Uneven and Magic. Kush here to make the steal, the Grand Theft purple. Can they pull it off? The hit and run. That's going to be a purple buff for DA.
Yeah, and if you kind of look at the engagement of the side of Fiends, it doesn't feel like they have quite the damage that they had last time around. The Valentina with the last Insanity was just kind of like, I have that kill pressure on you. But this time, the Vexana, it almost feels like it's a defensive, the defensive ultimate coming through to just give a little bit of vision and hopefully try to deal some damage. Even looking at now, he's struggling to kind of take care of that lane, and Kohari,
oh, BMI's right back to the team. Tries to use a Blazing Duet, but a lot of damage comes in. No, it's Fury and Pro Destroy picks up the kill. Fiends trying to hit them back hard, right where it counts. Taking out Toru, taking out T, trying to even the gold.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a misplay coming out from Devious. They did not have to be so aggressive there, but the side of Fiends able to pick up a few more kills on the board. I think it's going to be pushing them into a 4-3 advantage. Still down in gold. This neutral objective coming up here. Both teams ready for that 50-50.
And Mikasa getting involved here. DA does have the zoning potential, but Fiends could dive in at any moment. They're going to give up another turtle, and it seems like they're comfortable with that. And here comes the concealed play. Not able to lock on anybody. Uneven, hits the split. Looking for the grab onto somebody, but decides not to do it. DA definitely controlling the map right now.
Yeah, Fiends caught onto the back foot. We haven't seen Pro Destroy being on the backside of the things, especially in any of these matchups this time around. If Fiends is able to take care of, this mid to the late game, maybe even turn the fight around, it's definitely going to prove that they have an extremely strong performance.
DA doing so well at just cutting Fiends off from any source of income they have. Churobani is able to secure that purple buff, so that is huge. They get something there. Here comes Pro Destroy. Gets a little bit of chip damage. Slam from Uneven, but he's taking too much damage. Forced to flicker away under the tower. But we are seeing some moments of greatness from the side of Fiends, some moments of possibilities from the sides of Fiends. They've turned that 2,000 gold deficit into only 800. Kohari still deathless, and we know what happened last time when Kohari was able to do that on the Claude.
And the side of Devious, they have been playing quite consistent in this game. The lead is not as clean as it was a few minutes before, but they still are holding on to this game. And it's kind of weird that I'm saying that Fiends are holding, and DA is holding on, because they're actually the ones that are supposed to show these newborn kings that, hey, like, this is our turf. We've been here, done this in the NACT, but this time around, it feels like they're still struggling.
Mid-air, grabs him from the cable, pushes him against the wall. DA gets a nice advantage there, but a nice Terrify onto T. Churobani and Magic are forced to back off, but a slam comes from Uneven, bringing Kush back into the mid, but he don't care. That's where he wants to be. The Eternal Guardian is going to get melted down, but while this is happening, Kohari picks up another tower in the top side. Fiends, yes, you take the aggression in the mid, but we are still looking for objectives.
And Kohari is definitely going to be shown as a problem here. There's not many people that is shutting down Kohari specifically, but I do know that DA has a lot of CC and the Nana polymorph to be able to kind of counter out that Claude. But the blue buff is being on to play, and also the objective here.
Casa going to come in, become a nuisance. Yato there as well. Does look like Mikasa able to steal the purple buff, but now the Eternal Guardian comes in, blazing away to the backside. Kush getting melted down, and Kohari picking up the pieces once again, solving the puzzle. DA on the run, a nice Terrify locks onto Mikasa. Can he get away from this magic? Able to do a little bit of damage, uneven there, ready with the grab, the slam, bring him back to the team so the rest of the team can take him out. A little bit of damage on Kohari, finally taken out. Does look like Toru is going to pop the crossbow. Able to do a little bit of damage onto the team. DA reclaiming ground, but still they lost Kush. They lost some of their front line. Fiends lost Kohari, though. That goes the damage. Back to a stalemate.
Yeah, but this time around, Fiends isn't unable to get that like clean pick-off fights, right? They're not winning every fight, and you can kind of say the same for DA too. They're not winning every single fight. They're getting some good pick-offs here and there, but it's not 100%. The Lord is marching down, so they do have objectives that they have to clear off on the map. Maybe DA can capitalize and try to get a split push on the side here, and that's exactly what they're doing. The Rithel top side taking that tower out, looking for the second one.
Yeah, Toru's been doing a good job. We were a little questioning about the Airthel pick, but when he does come in, we are seeing the damage start to count. He's taking a death on the board, but it's not enough to hold him back at all. DA playing things. Oh, speaking of Toru, the 1v1 up against Pro Destroy.
Grabbing up onto that top side. Fiends a little bit on the back foot once again. I do think Pro Destroyer now sitting at 4 deaths should look to opt to maybe go for a split push, maybe get Kohari involved in some of these team fights a little bit more often. It seems like Kohari has done quite well in getting the Blazing Duet onto the right members, but Devious is still having a very, very strong team fight. It's hard to get onto the backside when you have that Nana polymorph, you have the Ruby stunning whoever is trying to engage onto the backside, just like Toru there, and also T being extremely annoying, shutting down Pro Destroy in this matchup here. But mid, it does look like both teams are forming this 4 versus 4 kind of grouped up strategy.
Here's the thing about DA, right? They have this 3K gold lead, but it doesn't feel game deciding. Fiends still feels like they could pull something off. They have the set potential. They have the play potential. They have the Minotaur. They have a lot of options to approach these fights the way they want to. And at any moment, they could make a play that turns everything around. And I think DA knows that, right? So they're not trying to force this. They're still taking things slow. A little bit of damage on a T there. He's going to be able to get away. Uneven on the chase. Looking for maybe a grab. More just a nuisance. Gets a slam onto Yato there. Pro Destroy goes down to Toru, though. He keeps getting cut off, and now DA knows the Fiends are down a member. They get the Tona's welcome. Onto Uneven. Kawhi into the backside, though. Able to get the Blazing Duet. Followed up in the Nolan's Fury. Can they get the cleanup, though? No. Uneven goes down. Magic gonna be the next to fall. T able to pick up the kill. But T goes down for that. Churro able to find the kill. It's nothing but Kohari and Churro left on the field up against 4 members of DA.
Yeah, it seems like Fiends in these team fights, they're unable to push out the damage that they really are desperately needing. I think they were looking for Pro Destroy to get a little bit more damage per some of these fights, but Kohari chunks so low here.
Oh, the flicker from Mikasa. I think he's being a little too aggressive. He keeps on flickering him solo by himself. I get it. He had a great game 1, but there's no Angela this time.
There's no utility saved for the side of Fiends, but now being down in gold, they're able to find a moment of weakness from the side of Devious. The lanes are being pushed everywhere, and Fiends able to take another tower. Now, the Lord is marching down onto the top side. DA traditionally should be able to get maybe an inner tower, get a siege going, grab a strategy coming through, but Fiends has the mobility, and quite honestly, it seems like Pro is potentially coming back online. He was struggling early on, but he should be able to find a kill here now. Ooh, red side, lots of people.
DA once again bringing in 4 members, 5 coming soon. Kohari with the Blazing Duet, but more to get away. Toru bursts him down, sends Koharu back to base. But look at Yato! Force the proc the passive just to get away. That Eternal Guardian is starting to hurt. Uneven, a little bit of trouble here, though. Getting shredded down. T able to pick up the kill. DA with the advantage, taking out 2 members from Fiends. But Fiends are able to take out the Lord. Pro-Destroy jumping back into the midst of things, doing a little bit of spread damage, but still not enough. Magic gonna get pulled back in. The Minoan's Fury able to get the knock-up and escape. Back under the tower, back and forth. Here comes Pro-Destroy looking for Toru here. Can he get the kill? No. Unable to find it. Pops the cutthroat, but still unable to take anyone down. Now Koharu in a bad spot. Uses the BMI to back up. Devious activity not gonna stop, and down goes Magic. This is huge for DA. They're gonna keep on pressing the advantage.
Yeah, the advantage beside the DA. All the members are quite low here. Fanny coming through does get summed up just like that.
Pro-Destroy, man, every time he goes in, he is stopped in his tracks. The peel from DA is just making this Fanny useless.
Yeah, the scoreboard. 8K goal lead for the side of Devious. 15 minutes in, 14-7 is the overall score. The side of Fiends, they're desperately looking for a few kills here and there, but I don't think they're able to grab up that just yet. It might be due to the comp. Doesn't feel like the side of DA has the damage available to win a lot of these team fights. DA playing extremely well so far, quite disciplined here. Almost a 10K gold lead in a reverse matchup this time around, pushing them potentially to get this victory here, but there's still a lot of work to be done from both teams. All the inners are still available for the side of Fiends.
You know, with Kohari and Pro, Fiends have really just been able to... Wait a second. Speaking of Kohari, every time I say a name, they get munched up and tossed against the wall. Magic now in a little bit of trouble as well. Uses the Minoan's Fury, but still it's an escape mechanism, but they're right on his trail. Can he escape from this one? Locked down, stunned up, and taken out. Devious activity find another 2 members. What I was gonna say was Fiends have been doing a great job at alleviating the pressure with Pro-Destroy and Kohari, able to use the split push, able to kind of keep the pressure away with the lanes, but DA don't care. They're gonna drive it down the mid side, take out another one, proc that immortality, pull him back in, but uneven will go down. Toru picking up the mega kill.
Now that's gonna be a Lord and also a kill for the side of DA. That's 3 members down, actually, for Fiends here. Unable to capitalize on too much, but Pro-Destroy coming onto this, I don't think he's going to be able to get too much damage onto the bottom side.
Yeah, they're on him. DA's like, no, no, no. Pro-Destroy able to just get back in time there. Can they defend this Lord? It's an 11K goal lead for DA.
It's hard to tell because the side of Fiends, they don't have that strong wave clear that, you know, a traditional, let's say like a Farsa or a Novaria or a Faramis can clear onto the mid side. They have the Vexana, which has an ultimate to kind of like tank the front line, but DA is just so tanky with the Barats. They're unable to get a shutdown, and now with the Lord marching down, it's going to be an extremely hard clear for the sides of Fiends.
Yeah, we need a big Minoan's Fury something. Kohari is able to shut down the Lord, but he's pulled in with the I'm offended. Minoan's Fury does lock on. Blazing Duet just to get away. Pro-Destroy back to the base as well, but uneven. Locks on to Kush here. Mikasa also pretty low. Chirobani looking for some sort of pick off. Kush finally goes down, but still has the immortality. Pro-Destroy looking for an angle as well. Gonna come in, but locked up, and down they go. Mikasa saving the day time and time again in these team fights. A lot of damage onto Yato. Comes in, able to pop back onto Kohari, but DA not done just yet. Kohari back onto the base, and DA has locked down. They're going to take us to a game number 3.
Oh, man. Trex. The best of 3 matchup, we're coming back into play. This time around, Devious able to take the victory. 19 is going to be the overall kill, 7 and 44. A strong performance coming out of Devious, pretty much coming back into this series. Now, the momentum is on their side. They're going to try to take care of business this time around. This is kind of the usual performance that majority of us in North America is looking forward to. The team stats overall, Trex.
I mean, it's huge, right? And even though DA won that game, Fiends still put up a good fight. I think the Fanny pick was maybe even though it was like literally their last pick, when you're on the red side, there was still one more pick for DA to counter with. And yes, the Ruby made it tough, but it was still dealable. But then you put T on the Hilda, and it just kind of sealed the fate for Fiends. Plus the Barats early on, DA knew their win con, they knew their win condition, they knew what they had to do, bring it into Fiends jungle, steal purples, make Pro Destroy have as tough of a game as possible, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and I think the side of Fiends underestimated DA's ability to use the Ruby to get the lockdowns that is necessary for a lot of these team fights, right? We saw pretty much Mikasa just waiting in the backside, looking for the Fanny to cable in, having the second skill ready, and he hits him every single time on that cable, right? Fanny, maybe he has to come through on the backside, maybe he has to look for a little bit more split push, but the Hilda has definitely worked out. We could even see the Barats getting a few sets mid-air onto Pro Destroy. So definitely they have to think about how they can engage with Pro Destroy, make him create some of the impact, or possibly go back to the utility focus, right? Pick up the Fredrin. We saw the Boxia do quite well in the last series. So maybe this time around the Fiends have to adjust a little bit more, because it seems like DA has caught on to the aggressiveness and being able to pull out some of these matchups to win the small skirmishes early on.
I think going back to utility could definitely be viable. I mean, it's definitely, we see the possibilities, right? And it's day 2. It's early season. This is the time you get to kind of pull out some pocket picks right there. But DA had the answers. They were able to answer back very cleanly, and even though Fiends kind of kept up a fight with the macro in a sense, able to kind of take out some of those towers, look for split push, it helped them survive a bit longer. DA had their number, they pulled their card, and they brought it to them. But now it's game 3, and like you just said, we know Fiends has more things in their pocket they can pull out. They can go back to utility if they want. They can go back to the basics, keep things simple. So I definitely don't think it's over yet. I think game 3 is a toss-up. It is a coin flip right now, because even though DA won that last game, it's not like they just stomp-fested Fiends there. There was some moments where it felt like Fiends could take back that game.
And this is going to be our first best of 3 series, game 3. Right? Just what you were kind of projecting in the beginning. We were kind of talking about it like, hey man, maybe today we're not going to get the sweeps coming through, but this time around it's going to be 1 against 1 between DA and Fiends. And now both teams are locking in to see who can get on top of the bracket with this series. Fiends definitely still having extremely strong performances. It seems like their early game, they're lacking a little bit on some of the macro rotations, losing out on just like these like small mistakes that are not pushing them into the gold advantage. Or it could just be DA capitalizing on, you know, knowing the rotations, knowing how the minion waves are manipulated. They're getting these small gold leads that even without objectives, they're pushing quite well. And this time around, I do think Fiends have to clean up some of their battle strategies. Tracks like it's they have to make sure that they can execute quite well, because this time around this is game 3. Both of them, if they both lose, like it's going to be quite tough, especially in terms of the overall bracket.
Yeah, and I think someone we really have to keep our eyes on, and I think Fiends needs to kind of keep a check, is Kohari, right? He has definitely been one of the stars of the team these past 2 games. And I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a lot of your eggs into the basket of your gold laner, but you need to be able to play around that. And the Claude is clutch right now. The Claude is very good, but they need to have the peel for him, they need to have the engage for him, and they need to have enough of a front line, which means they need to pick that utility jungler, right? They need to pick something that can kind of move up and forth with him while he's doing the damage that's needed. So I think a lot of it, not only the gameplay, but the draft in general, I think that game was decided the moment draft ended. DA knew exactly what they were doing, so Fiends, they need to approach it correctly, because they started off strong. DA was willing to give them the trade, willing to give them the Vexana, one of the most sought-after mages right now in drafts, and Fiends kind of, they were feeling good, and then I think the Fanny pick was just a little bit too risky, a little bit too crazy. If they would have just gone for something safe there, that game could have been a lot different.
Yeah, and you talked about kind of the strategy come out from Fiends. The Fanny just wasn't able to create the impact that he was looking for. I actually think that DA came out with a beautiful strategy.
Yeah.
We don't see the Hilda coming out to play, especially when there's a lot of utility junglers that are being popularized, especially in our scene. And the Hilda was just quite perfect to deal with a lot of what Fanny had to do, right? He was there on every single buff. Fanny, I think, missed pretty much like the second blue buff or the third blue buff all the way to the end. DA was able to capitalize on, you know, just not having Fanny have the blue buff, the regenerative ability of that buff, and it's a very, very good strategy that DA performed, and I just want to say it's a beautiful, beautiful draft coming out from them.
Yeah, we're seeing the versatility, right? We're seeing that the depth of their hero pool overall from DA, that they're not kind of cornered into one specific strategy. They can go for a more widespread team comp. They can go for a more Ube grouped up S team comp, which is kind of what we saw there. They have a lot of opportunity. And T, sitting on Roam right now, a position that we haven't really gotten to see him on a whole lot, normally always been an EXP laner, is definitely performing wonders. And this is one of the reasons I feel like a lot of us have had our eyes on DA, wondering where they will place this season. So I really think how they finish off this game 3, do they make it look like Fiends taking game 1 was just a fluke, or does Fiends show them that they are here in the NACT to play, that this is a new era for NACT, it's a new year, it's 2024, and the new dogs on the block want to show why they are in here?
Yeah, but you know, regardless, both teams are going to get a point, right? Yeah. Going back to it, both teams have that point on the board. This is kind of like that extra credit. I do think this point is quite important for both of their teams to have that point just above, you know, when you get 0-2. And, you know, now both teams have that safety net. They could kind of be like, hey, this is going to be our last game. Whether we win or lose, we've done great in this series, able to come back or to break the momentum of the other team. This time around, they have to try to figure out maybe a winning strategy, a dominating performance, because it surprisingly, Trex, both teams are so neck to neck in a lot of these team fights. Both teams have good drafts, good strategies, and how they play it out is very, very much similar. And it's definitely proven that Fiends is a team that we have to watch out for.
And to kind of like go into depth on what you mean by that point, right? So, for example, next series, we got BTK versus LEGACi. Both got swept yesterday. If either of those teams gets swept next match, it doesn't matter who loses here, DA or Fiends, they're going to be a little bit ahead, right? They're going to have that extra point. If any team that got wins yesterday, like Area 77, if Area 77 gets swept later today, Fiends is going to have that point ahead of them. You know, we're going to start to see the difference mattering and why every game matters, even if you're on the losing side. It's the difference between where you get slotted off into playoffs later in the season. Yeah,
and you know, now that Fiends have that point, it's going to be a third place standing for them. It's not guaranteed, of course.
Unless they win. What? Wait. You're already putting it as in DA's got this. DA needs that point. Let's keep this even footing right now, because I truly believe it's 50-50.
Yes, both teams need that point, but it does push them up in the bracket and in the standing, and that's quite significant. Even though we're only talking about day 2, right? We still have tons of matches available. It is still a very significant advantage because it's hard to get matches. This is top 8 of North America, the best of the best, the royal clash of all these teams lined up, and there's so many new players coming in. We really don't know what's gonna happen. Like, this is, and every team seems a lot more neck to neck, right? We have Fiends up here creating some uprising. We have A77 beating the Kings of the Kings. And now this time around, Trex, we get our game 3 between Devious and Fiends.
Now, this is what we like to call a rubber band match. The bounce back and forth, the 1-1. Match number 3 in a best of 3. This is the first one of NACT right here, and I love that background music. It's hype. DA up against Fiends. DA gonna be on the blue side this time, back to the blue side with first pick. They take out the Angela, they take out the CC. This time they're gonna leave things open. It's gonna be up to Fiends like, do they trade up here, right? So DA has the option, right? Do we ban out the Nolan? Do we ban out the Vexana here? Those are kind of the main things you want to watch out for. Barat's also still open. If DA leaves it at a open draft, right? Like an open ban, like they leave maybe they go for the Claude. So now Fiend's option is, we might not even touch the Nolan or the Vexana. We force DA into a trade here.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting
go for the
because
Barats.
in this series, Trex, like the assassins have lost. We saw game 1, Joy was taken out from from Boxia, even though the Joy had a great early game, getting all the objectives. Late game, it seems like these utility focused junglers are just dealing too much, like having so much more impact. And in game 2, we saw it once again, right? We saw the Barats just completely dominating, tanking up, soaking up so much CC and ultimates coming out from the side of Fiends, and was able to dominate into that mid and late game. Now, this time around, I do want to predict. I want to say that both teams see that this utility focused style is much safer, much consistent, and I think we're going to see a matchup between the Fredrins, the Akai, and the Boxias, and maybe even the Barats comes out to play because the Nolan has been banned out. Joy is available along with the Arlot, but we also know that DA did lose picking up both of those heroes, so it might be a little bit of like a strategy that Fiend wants to just bait out and be like, hey, take those picks. We're gonna go with the same strategy once again.
I don't think DA is gonna focus Joy this time. I think big chance. I think they're thinking about it, right? They're like, oh, okay, they win for the Nolan ban. They pick up the Barats.
Export.
So Fiends, yeah, definitely possible for an X-Borg. I think Fiends. Trobani did well on the Vexana again, but they know that, hey, Yato could just pick up the Nana again. I think Fiends knows that like DA has some of those answers, and DA, whether they are or not, I feel like they, in their minds, they have the driving. They got the steering wheel of this draft right now, right? They're putting Fiends. They're checking them right now. Like they're player checking them. All right, we're banning out the Angela. We're not even going for meta bans. We're taking out your Claude. We're taking out your CC. We're taking out your Angela. Let's see how deep your hero pool goes. Fiends calls it back. Fine. You want to aim for Kohari? We're gonna pick up the next best thing. We're gonna lock in the carry, and we're gonna go for the Minotaur. We're not even gonna lock in what's meta. This draft is definitely getting spicy right now.
I love the carry reaction to the to the Barats being picked up by the side of DA, but I don't know about this Minotaur. Why? Because I feel like there's a lot of good heroes that are available that was banned out between the first and the second game. For example, the Novaria, right? The side of DA has been focusing on that ban, and Novaria is quite good against a lot of these frontline tanky units. The second skill provides a lot of slow and it's instant. Also, the ultimate can slow down the Barats. Another option that Fiends could have went for would be the Lilia, right? And Lilia is traditionally good against a lot of the immobile, sustain, utility-focused jungler, but we love the Ruby pick coming out from the side of DA. The success that Mikasa had on the Ruby was so impactful, shutting down every opportunity that Fiends had to look to engage. And this time around, picking it up is such a strong showing. But the response, Trex, we called it out. The X-Borg gets picked up by Uneven, and I think that is a great response.
And the X-Borg has been an answer to the Barats for a while, but here's the thing. X-Borg, yes, he kites, but it's not like a long-range kite. And when you have something like a Ruby on the field, you match that up along with the Vexana, who's got crazy burst damage right now. It's simple. It's kind of similar to how back in the day, the Farza was very good at countering the X-Borg because you had the stun, and then one big hit, you get rid of that Fraga armor, right? So I think DA does have some answers to it. Same thing, one of the problems, one of the issues for Kohari on this carry, it's a close-range marksman, man, and you are in high risk of that I'm offended at all times. You're in high risk of getting knocked up by that Eternal Guardian at all times. Now, coming to the second phase of bans, Fiends don't decide to hone in to the gold lane here. They're going to take out the Tigreal.
Damn, Trex, you took it out of my word, like you took it out of my mouth. I thought Fiends was gonna focus on the gold lane, right?
Yeah.
Take out the Brody. Don't let DA take that Brody. Maybe even take out the Rithel, which Toru has done quite well on that hero. But DA, the response, the Novaria, I think it's definitely warranted. The Novaria got banned out the first 2 games. I also think a Fairmiss or a Lilia should be the second option. But with so many mages available, I do think it's going to be quite hard to get that focus ban off of Fiends. Maybe they could find a matchup that's good for the Vexana, but I don't think that if DA lets the Lilia available, a lot of the players nowadays love the Purify against the Vexana. Just running forward, getting that Purify on the ultimate, and just using that Black Shoes after the dive. I do think that's a strategy Fiends is going to come up with. The Bruno gets banned out. I'm scared. The Brody is available, and I do think Toru is 100% thinking about that pick.
I think it's like they just got beat by the Aerithil, right? I think Fiends is also in the mindset of like, let's not like they can pick up something a little off-brand and still beat us. So maybe we don't waste the ban on just marksman. Maybe we waste it on something that could really mess us up, right? So in their minds, it's the Tigreal could be a problem if they lock that in. But it's tough. They're in a harsh position for bans because there's still the flexibility with T on the Ruby. They could put it in the XP lane, right? So maybe it would have been better just to go straight into EXP, but in the end, Fiends have to make that choice. DA, on the other hand, do they ban out the Nana here, right? Like, do they just go straight into Mage here? They go for the Fermies instead, which I think is also a decent ban.
But Lilia is available, and once again, the traditional counter of that Vexana. A lot of people love the Lilia going down mid, so I do think this might be a small mistake. Pro Destroyer, once again, hey man, the utility-focused junglers are back in style. The Boxia gets picked up to match up against the Barats, and I do think this is a much better matchup, right? The Ruby, it was just so hard playing the Assassin against Ruby and Nana that this time around, I do think the strategy of Fiends is much more balanced. They have the front line available. They have 2 HP shredding heroes, and paired up with a long-range mage like the Farsa, the Lilia, even the Xavier, they might have an opportunity to kind of just siege from the backside, outrange the Vexana, and kind of just shred the front lines of Devious, because the Barats and the Ruby, it's not an unbeatable combination. They have a lot of HP, but they are also extremely immobile. If they get the range and get the slow around, it might come in play, but the excitement tracks.
That is spicy right there. The Harith pick into the gold lane. I was wondering if and when we were going to see it this season. It's always kind of that gold lane pick that comes in here and there, then you don't see it for a month or two, and then it pops back in, and we get to see it early this NACT. It does have the poke. It has the ability to kind of keep this carry at bay in the laning phase, and there is a big amount of damage. The only problem is, on the side of DA, there's no huge physical damage dealer here. I'm wondering if this Thamuz is going to maybe not be as much of the utility XP laner, but more of like, we lock in Corrosion Scythe early on, we maybe go for the War Axe, we go for just full damage build on this Thamuz, and then wrap it up maybe with a little bit of defense as the last 2 items.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because the Harith, it's typically a guarantee win onto the gold lane. They could put any marksmans, maybe besides an early game Brody, and the Harith should be able to out-trade with the first skill along with the mobility and just being able to just dominate that lane. So I do think DA is shifting towards a little bit of the 1-3-1 type of strategy, but Fiends with a great response, right? The Lilia coming in with the Purify, negating a lot of the CC that Yato and T is going to impact, and making sure that Kush stays in his place with the Ice Queen 1. But Trex, take us in to the game 3.
All right, this is game number 3. Devious activity. Fighting for the life against Fiends right now. The underdog story has just started in the first week of NACT.
And this time around, I do want to say that I want to see Magic creating a little bit of havoc, right? We've seen him kind of walk around and defending Pro Destroyer here and there, but this time around, I want to see him go a little bit more aggressive. Push T out of uncomfortable situation, get those trades in, but Minotaur is going to be one of those traditional front line tanks. They're not going to have too much of an impact early on. The first skill is on quite a high cooldown, and the dash is not that far away. So it's going to be quite a defensive, reactive roamer this time. But DAT, again, being extremely annoying here. And you can see the trade already on the favor of DA.
Yeah, muscle and magic on the Minotaur right now. What? Oh! First blood deleted, taken out. Kohari The egg in the basket is cracked right now for Fiends.
Yeah, and you know, we saw that flicker, aggressive flicker coming out from Yato. That's almost like a blind flicker going in. It's not guaranteed that he can land those spells, but this man, of course, with the experience that he has, is able to hit those spells that he needs necessary to get that kill on the bot side. Even popped Kohari's Purify early on. So a small advantage for the side of Devious, a great early game performance, and you could even see Kush having a small lead in terms of some of the jungle creeps.
I love that small decision from T, though, too. It's like, yes, we send Yato down for an early game gold lane gank, but T holds the wave in mid side so that Yato can get back and still get the experience and still get the gold from it. So a very, minute thing that makes the big differences in the long haul for DA.
Yeah, and look at it. DA has all the level 4s that they need to get this objective going. Fiends on the backside still a little bit late, but the party just started.
ProDestroy able to get in, looking for Yato, able to take the turtle though. ProDestroy taking a lot of damage. DA on the advance, he's in the midst and he can't get away. Taking out another kill for the side of Devious Activity.
A good snowball coming out from DA, able to grab up that objective along with a kill, pushing up to a 2-0 advantage along with the objective of Mikasa here, caught in a bad situation. I do think he's going to be able to just sliver away with not much health.
I mean, he does get chipped down though, has to be careful. Overall, Uneven tries to find the kill using the last insanity, but Mikasa able to get away safely. T now looking for the pickoff, has the offended, pulls Uneven back in, and Yato picks up another kill, and Owen's Fury comes down and finds Mikasa. It's a 1-for-1, but I think it's a good trade because Yato now 2-0-1 on this Vexana.
Yeah, Yato is getting a little bit scary. We saw the Vexana come out in the last game, didn't have the impact that Yato has this time around. And also, the magic damage that's backed up by Devious is not only from Yato. If he falls, that's fine. They have Toru on the bot side doing God's work here, getting that lane in check, and Kohari struggling a little bit more onto this gold side, but T getting engaged a little bit. I think he's going to get away though.
He should be all right. Yato's here to help out, but Fiend's gonna now move on to Yato. The Tortoise Puissance getting a little bit of damage, but down comes the Guardian, able to get the knock up. Chirobani doesn't want to let him get away, but he takes a big burst to the face. Pops the black shoes. Kush now gonna cut him off. Chirobani in trouble. Kush doesn't even use the Daytona's welcome. They get the kill. Yato on another one. Magic now gonna get munched up, and Toru gonna start poking down. Magic forced to use the flicker just to get away, and Fiend's on the back foot right now. Kush now gonna come in, invade onto the blue buff. Not even waiting for the rest of the team. It's just Magic and ProDestroy up against T and Kush. It's a battle for the purple. The knockup comes down for Magic, but ProDestroy still unable to get it. T actually with the steal.
Not much damage coming out from Fiend's side. Once again, it seems like they really need Kohari to be able to rotate around the map and do the damage that their Fiends is looking for, because DA right now dominating on all parts of the map. Took care of that blue buff, and now taking the objective here. It is a 2-0 on the turtle clock. 4-1 is the overall scoreboard. 2K lead for Mitten.
Big flicker, I'm offended in the knockup. Two members down. Churro plus ProDestroy gets destroyed. Devious Activity making a statement.
Yeah, 1-0-4 is T's score. He has the impact already early on. We did see that game 1, he didn't have the impact that he was looking for, but definitely game 2 and now game 3, he is all over the map. And Yato, the duo that we've been looking for, is now performing on the level that we expect them to. DA is outclassing Fiends right now in pretty much the micro and the macro, and it's going to be extremely hard to deal with. Fiends have to try and just grab up whatever they can and maybe farm on the opposite side of map, because I think now Kohari is going to be the one that has to lead them into the victory.
The YT, the Yati, the duo in the mid side. Paired up with Kush, and it's definitely deadly right now. Fiends unable to control the pressure. Devious Activity knows it. They smell blood. They're going to keep up with the engages, keep up with the invades, and T able to get the offended. Kush going to hop in. All of them get knocked up, but they don't care. They keep on pressing on in, and Magic is deleted. Chirobani pops the black shoes, but he pops it, and it's the 4 members under the tower. Kush doesn't care. He's looking for the kill, and he gets it. Uneven now, maybe coming in a little bit too late. Props the Fraga armor. Force the flicker back. DA still chasing. This is their jungle now.
Yeah, I do think Devious pretty much has everything going for them. It's about a 5k gold lead 6 minutes in. And when we talk about the gold lead, when it's pretty much similar to the time that's on the clock, it pretty much smells trouble for the other team. And I do think Devious is completely dominating in this matchup so far. It's going to be hard for Fiends to kind of get back, and they have to try and clear these waves, and they have to try and give more time to Kohari. Maybe less engagement, maybe more just pushing them around the map. Try to get a pick off with the numbers, and if you don't have the numbers, just back off. But the 1 versus 1, Kohari falls to Mikasa here.
Yeah, that's looking rough. I mean, Kohari already lost the kill. Toru also feeling good right now. Kohari's going to have a lot of trouble, and he's a hero that needs to scale. Fiends need to buy time, but DA doesn't want to let it happen. Luckily, Fiends able to get that orange buff there. Pro-Destroy puts it under himself. The Eternal Guardian is also such a nuisance, and it gives Yato so much space to just zone and pressure onto Fiends.
Yeah, it seems like Devious pretty much has the strategies available. They're winning, again, across the map. And this time around, 9-1 is the scoreboard. They're looking to siege onto the top side. Fiends, they have to try to figure out a strategy to shut down Yato. 4-0-4 is pretty ridiculous here. They have to find a way to dive onto the backside. And I don't think Fiends in any way is struggling in these team fights. I feel like Magic is setting it up quite well with the knockup, but whoa.
A lot of damage on a Kohari. DA able to find another one. They brought him into their own tower. They're like, listen, you're coming this way. You're coming with us. And I like it. Right now, DA, this is looking reminiscent of what Fiends did to them in game number 1. It's 10-1 right now, UA.
Yeah, but this time around, Devious has pretty much the gold lead and the kill lead versus the last time in game 1, Fiends had the kill lead, but no objective and no gold lead. So this is going to be a hard match for Fiends to get back into the game.
I'm offended, paired up with that huge hit on Magic. Magic tries to get the knockup, but the rest of the team isn't there to capitalize. Pro-Destroy still wants to go for it, though. Uneven, maybe looking for a last insanity, wants to get a little bit of burn onto the rest of the team. Devious activity does fall back, but now they're looking for the re-engage. T with the concealed play, able to get a little bit of poke onto Pro-Destroy there. More damage coming from Yato. This man is 5-0-1. Fearless under the tower, pushing back Fiend single-handedly.
Yeah, Yato's movement's kind of crazy here. You never see the Vexana on the backside just trying to zone out away from their tower from the back ends. 11-1 is the scoreboard. We're heading into this 8-9 minutes where we're going to that mid-late game. The Lord is coming up, but the gold lead seems too much to handle for the side of Fiends. I don't think a contestation is even possible here. Maybe they should look to the opposite side of map and try to get a pick off, but no, Kohari is still going to be on the top side. It's quite a tough situation. I just don't really know if Fiends has what it takes, especially with this comp and this gold deficit, to be able to find a strategy to get back into this series.
I mean, Fiends had a great game 1. Game 2, they showed a little bit of promise, but game 3, DA is showing why they're here, why they're debated as a top 3 right now. DA, though, doesn't want to let up the gas at all, and this is where the boys become men. Can Fiends turn an 8K, 10K gold lead around?
Huge.
A lot of damage on a DA there. Yato keeping up the pressure, though. Mon's Force is down. Black Shoes comes out from Churro. DA decides to take things slow. They got a Lord coming down the bot side. They want one big push all together.
And again, this is kind of like the first series that Fiends is actually on the back foot. I know it's only game 2, but Fiends has not been tested on a losing matchup, and this time around they're definitely losing the matchup, and it's going to be quite tough for them to defend here. But the Lord marched down the bot side.
Ooh, Mikasa comes in with a big flicker, able to get No One's Fury onto several members, but no spread damage from the side of Fiends. Yato goes down, Churro able to find one. Fiends now fighting back. Pro-Destroy drops, though. Kohari able to find Yato, but still not enough. Fiends does defend, though, and that is promising. It's 10 minutes in. Kohari now able to do a little more damage onto T there. DA not letting up. It might be time to back off. Mikasa finds a tower in the boss side. DA taking a very split-up approach. Can Fiends capitalize on it? No! Kohari able to use the Purify. Sidestep. Get the kill onto Mikasa. Now Kush is on the run as well. Fiends fighting back with their lives. The shutdown. The double kill. Putting a big chunk of gold into Kohari's pocket.
And finally, Fiends is able to win a team fight, right? And you know, Kohari's position was actually quite interesting. He was in the backside going for it, but now that I'm offended.
Kohari Zaman's force paired up with the Kohari. You're not going to be able to outplay that one. A killing spree for Toru.
And it's just extremely tough, right? Fiends is just unable to find any fights to their advantage, and suddenly they're able to get a kill pick off here and there, but the counterplay from Devious is just too fast. The gold lead is just too much for Fiends to handle. But I do think Fiends still have a strategy in place to be able to defend against this, right? Push the game out longer. Get the carry to scale well, because quite honestly, Harith is a magic damage gold lane. He doesn't have the ability to scale as well as the true damage and the attack speed coming out from carry. So if Fiends slow down the pace, try to set up the fights a little bit better, or even not fight at all, right? Just clear the waves, slow it down, but no fight.
No flicker from Magic, though. Does get the knock up on 2 members. Paired up with the last Insanity. Yato goes down. Make it 2T. The Yati combo taken out for a price of nothing. DA needs to be careful. Kohari, ever so aggressive as always, but it's okay because the rest of the team's here to help out. Pro Destroy, uneven, taking a lot of damage. Still has the immortality, though, so he's good to stay, good to hang out, good to play. Pro Destroy, gonna get knocked back, but Fiends still fighting with it. Toru, along with Mikasa, trying to take the flanks, but Mikasa's in trouble. Kohari finds him. Toru, though, it's 3 for 1 right now, and Toru wants more. Make it a double. Even when DA's counted out for a fight, they still find the win, taking another tower down.
Yeah, and Toru just on the backside, deleting members of Fiends left and right. The damage coming out onto that Lilia was completely just dominating that matchup. And now Devious activities on the objective, 13 minutes, and this is going to be the second Lord, the Luminous Lord, marching down. It's going to be either on the top side and the bot side, and just leaves Fiends 1 tower to defend onto the mid. It's a pretty bad situation if you ask me. 6k gold lead, it's less than what it was before, but this time around I think Fiends have a little bit of confidence. They kind of figured out that, hey, maybe they can win a fight here and there, and as long as Kohari does not overextend here, I do think that Fiends have the confidence to be able to win a fight or two. And with that confidence, maybe Devious might overextend, but with the gold lead and how Devious is playing, I do think this is going to be a really, really hard defense.
We got to start calling Kohari the Brave, man. This man is alone way too much all the time, but the rest of his team is able to get back to safety. But he does lose a utility there. Magic in trouble. Magic unable to get that Minoan's Fury down. This is going to look like trouble for the side of Fiends. All they had to do was defend this Lord, last a few more minutes, and maybe they had a chance. But now, DA marching in, the pressure on, the last Insanity in the backside, able to get some nice chip damage onto Kush there. Kush going to go down, unable to lock on the Detona's welcome. The Lord getting shredded. Fiends still alive, still hanging on, swinging from the chandelier right now. Toru takes down the tower. Pro Destroy pulled in from the I'm offended. Pro Destroy goes down. Kohari popping off as usual. Fiends trying to hang out, but Toru pops Manon's force, unable to lock onto Kohari. Wait a second, Kush taken out with the last Insanity, uneven, still has the immortality. Procs it, black shoes from Churro. Fiends survive. It's a 1 for 1. They lose the tower, and Magic still pushing forward. No one's Fury locks onto no one, but Kohari don't care. He's the brave. He's united. He's on the chase, and DA is kicked out of hell.
And Fiends have a great defense there. They're able to take out Kush in that huge engagement, and uneven 3, 1, and 4, playing such a great game. They're able to defend onto this inner base essentially, and that's the only thing that they have left. Now Devious this time around with the Lord coming up in 50 seconds, they're definitely going to be having, they definitely have the advantage in terms of the position in the river, right? They have all the towers available, and even if they do lose this fight, I do think Devious has enough insurance with all the outer towers available to sacrifice that. But Fiends, they don't got anything left.
Magic, he keeps doing it. UA, what is he doing?
1, 5, and 5 is the score for Magic, but Kohari, the man himself, going in.
The Brave. We call this man the Brave because he's in the midst all the time. It's one versus the world, and he's coming out on top. Wait a second, no. DA trying to turn around. Kohari takes a big chunk of damage, forced to run away. Mikasa with the sustainability there.
It's going to be on the determination of if T can get that ultimate onto Kohari or even Toru, right? We saw the hair kind of pop off 7-0 and 6. He's full items, full build, probably the richest man on the side of DA and has the mobility to get on to the carry. But if he does not have the spells, the carry should have the late game potential to kind of mow down any of the front lines of DA. Now, Fiends, the Lord is going to be marching down onto their side again. This time they do not have the mid side insurance. And man, look at Kohari here, even pushing onto the bottom side, chooses to recall. But I'm not sure about this. I think he has to go home here.
Yeah, they got to stay home. What is Kohari doing? He's always on the other side of the map. They might be trying to take on Mikasa here. Mikasa pops the Counter and Inferno. Lord is getting melted down. They don't even need Kohari to defend it, but he's got to get back to base because the rest of the team is closing in. It's a 5v4. Kohari back on the map. Protosword takes a lot of damage from Toru there. Zamon's Force comes down. Fiends still defending 17 minutes in. They want to make this go the long haul. They just need to buy a bit more time, and that's what they're trying to do right now. Fiends able to push them back.
No
Magic
way.
with the flicker. Nolan's Fury. Comboed up with the last Insanity T, melted down. Mikasa gonna fall next, and Kohari the Brave is on the triumph. Toru though, looking for the 1v1, and Kohari can't take him. He might get taken out, and that's it. Toru with the double kill, carrying his team on his shoulders. 9-0 and 6. DA gonna try to close this out. It's 1-1. This is for all the marbles, and it's only day 2. This is the game we wanted to see. 7,000 gold lead for DA. 3 members gonna try to end this. They don't want to let up. Zamon's Force drops down. Last Insanity lock on to Toru, but he doesn't care. He's unfazed, unaffected. He is coherent. Shut down, legendary, uneven falls, and DA may be able to end this here. Pro Destroy takes a lot of damage. Push back. Fiends still there. It's nothing but Churro Bonnie versus the world, and that will be it. Devious Activity, after a long haul, takes game number 3.
Oh man, Devious Activities taking this series 2-1 against pretty much the underdogs here. We like that, right? Devious Activities proving that they are still going to be the contenders of this series. And honestly, Fiends played a great game. I honestly thought that they had a good chance to defend underneath their tower. Unfortunately, it still feels like Kohari is a little bit over aggressive in a few of those situations. But Trex, take us into the team statistics of Devious.
I'm still a little breathless, you know. I'm still working on getting myself back together right now. But no, yeah, KDA 24-9, 48 overall, a lot of kills, a lot of assists. I like it. It was a great game number 3. I mean, overall, DA though does come out on top, and I think one of the reasons why is because they were able to just take things slow. They never overextended. And when we look at the side of Fiends, it was very kind of risk it all, put it all on the line. And I think when you're at that point, you kind of do have to go for that. When you're at a 10,000 gold deficit, you kind of have to live that way. But maybe it was just a little bit too much.
And the performance coming out from Toru in that last 2 games has been quite the great performance, quite the beautiful performance here. He hit that legendary. He was chunking members left and right and played a complete, clean, and perfect game for the side of Devious. So definitely an MVP candidate coming in this series. But on the other hand, right, Fiends, I felt like Kohari did play quite well. The center of the attention that everyone's looking at is going to be Kohari and his position, and I think he did quite well. Unfortunately, it feels like the team just did not find the engagement that they were looking for, and Devious able to take care of business, taking this series 2-1 here. The team statistics on the board: 24, 9, and 48 is the overall KDA for the side of Devious. And you know, just looking at the KDA, it's a very one-sided match here, right? Devious winning pretty much every scrimmage possible. And ooh, look who we have back in the desk.
Hello, sir.
Dude, those games were crazy. Toru was absolutely tearing it up. Kohari up there, ying, 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 ying. Toru's like, nah, bro, we don't do that here. And then takes it straight to him, dude. Absolutely awesome. The way that the Fiends played on the first game, honestly, I was so in shock. And I was like, man, they really might be that guy right now.